Hello guys, welcome back to Math Zone African Motives, still on our mathematics grade 10. This is statistics exam that we're gonna work with, past paper that we're gonna work with on question number 2. So we are given that the traffic authorities are concerned that heavy vehicles, which are the trucks, are often overloaded. All right, this is something that is happening. So we are given, in order to deal with this problem, a number of weigh bridges have been set up along the major routes in South Africa. All right, so a lot of weigh bridges have been placed so that they check the total at the weigh bridge of the given mass. So the gross total, that is vehicle mass, is measured at these weigh bridges. The histogram below shows the data collected at weighbridge over a month. So this is over a period of a month where the numbers or the information was collected. This is the histogram showing gross vehicle mass, all right? So this side we're given the frequency, and this side we've got the mass of the vehicles in kilograms, all right? The mass of vehicles in kilograms corresponding to the frequency, just like considering the mass from 2,500 up to 4,500, how many vehicles were being recorded? That is the frequency. So this corresponds to the frequency, which is the number that we are given on top, 103. From 4,500 to 6,500, the frequency is 19, and so on. The frequency 70, 77, 85, 99, and so on. This is how we take the information, and this is the information that lies under the grouped data. A histogram is under a grouped data. All right, whereby we take it as a class, like from 2,500 to 4,500. This can be written as X is greater than or equal to 2,500, but is less than 4,500. It's now a class. You're talking about an interval from a certain point up to a certain point. That's an interval. That's the grouped data. All right, so let's see the questions. How are they given here? The first question was, write down the modal class of the data. The modal class, they are not saying write down the mod. No, it's a class. When you deal with the grouped information, you talk of a class from this to this point. So they're saying we're supposed to write the modal class, the one that has got the highest frequency. So which class corresponds to the highest frequency? The highest frequency ever recorded was 103, which is the class of 2,500 to 4,500. So that is the one with the highest frequency. The biggest value is 103. The biggest bar that we have on drawn here, it's at 103. So the class, like I said, is from 2,500 to 4,500. So you write as X is greater than or equal to. So X is greater or equal to 2,500. All right. But the same X is going to be less than 4,500. All right. So that's how you're going to have our class. Then estimate the mean gross vehicle mass of the month. This is the major part of the question, why I had to come out with this question. When dealing with grouped information, how do we calculate the mean? Okay, we know that under the grouped information, the mean value can be taken from the sum of the frequency times the class midpoints over the sum of the frequency, which is the total frequency. So this is the sum of the frequency times the x under grouped information. This is grouped, not ungrouped. On ungrouped information, remember, use the formula frequency. The mean is equal to the sum of terms over the number of terms. The x was representing the x terms. How many x terms are there? But this x here, it represents the midpoint. Is different. These are midpoints. We're talking about the class midpoints, the class centers, all right? A class center or a class midpoint. All right, so we are referring to the sum of the product of the frequency to the midpoint. So meaning to say we are going to need the frequency and the midpoints. The midpoints, where are they taken from? They're taken from the class. Remember, the midpoint is taken from the lower class. If you're given 2 less x less 4 like this, you add these two numbers, you divide by 2. That's the class midpoint. You add these two numbers, we divide by 2. So meaning to say we are going to need a table. We are going to tabulate this information. We're going to put it on a table. This is how we're going to have it. Since we've got classes here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 6 classes to be considered. So we're going to have it in form of a table where we can have our mass. Remember, the first thing that we have here is the mass. Here is the mass of the vehicle in kilograms, all right? Which is the gross mass or the mass of the vehicle in kilograms. So for the mass of the vehicles, all right? The mass of the vehicles in what? In kilograms, all right? All right. From this, we are going to need the frequency, the corresponding frequency. So I'm just going to use F for frequency. So this F is for frequency. This is the table that you need to calculate the mean. Then you are going to need what you refer to as the midpoints, which I say the midpoints here, I refer them as X. So X is the midpoint. So X represents the midpoints, all right? So we're going to calculate the midpoints, all right? Then you will need, because we need the frequency and the midpoint, so we are going to need the product of this frequency and X, which is F times X, which is frequency times midpoint. This is what we have, frequency times midpoint, all right? That is frequency times midpoint, okay? Remember, X represents the midpoint, all right? Or let us just write in words, frequency times midpoint. All right. So you're going to calculate, you're going to find the product of the frequency and the midpoint. So this is what you need on your table, because you need the sum of these. So you're going to find the product of these, then you add, that is the sum. The summation means the sum. So you add, you find the total. Also, you need the sum of the frequency, the total frequency, meaning to say on these frequencies, you are going to need the total of the frequencies. All right. So let us have our classes with their corresponding frequencies, because that is the information that we can take from that histogram. The histogram, it gives you the classes, the histogram, that graph that you are given. It gives you the classes, this histogram here. The classes, like I mentioned here, 2,500 up to 4,500. So this is what we have, 2,500 to 4,500. This first class that we are seeing here, the frequency that is corresponding there is what? 103. And what is the class? The class is 2,500. So it's going to be like this. X is greater or equal to 2,500, but the same X is less than 4,500. All right. And what is the frequency that is corresponding? The frequency here, from the frequency axis, all right? We're talking from here, the frequency axis. The frequency is the one that corresponds, and this is the one that is written on top. So that is 103. So we have got the frequency there of 103. So let us just fill in this one, then we go back, then we'll fill the rest, all right? Let us just start with this one. So this is it. Let's move on to the other class. From 4,500 to 6,500. So it's going to be X is greater or equal to 4,500, but less than 6,500. Less than 6,500. And the frequency there is 19. So this corresponds to 19. We move on 6,500 to 8,500. So X is greater than or equal to 6,500, but is less than 8,500. Okay, and the frequency there is a 70. Okay, you move on from 8,500 to 10,500. So X is greater than or equal to 8,500, but is less than 10,500. That is 10,500. Okay, from 10,000 up to 12,500. So X is greater or equal to 10,500, but less than 12,500. Oh, here we left the frequency. All right, from 8,500 to 10,500 here. From this 8,500, the frequency there is what? 77. So this corresponds with 77. All right. From 10,500 to 12,500, the frequency here, it corresponds on top to 85. So that is our frequency, 85. Then the last class is 12,500 to 14,500. So this is X is going to be greater than or equal to 12,500, but is less than 14,500. All right, so that's it. The frequency there on top is 99. So in this class, it corresponds to 99. So you're going to take the frequency there, 99. All right, so that's the information that you need from that histogram. The purpose of the histogram was for you to take this information. With this information that you have, this information, then is the one that you use to calculate whatever that follows. We've got the midpoints. So like I said, midpoints, you add what is on the lower and what is on the upper. This you divide by 2. You add this to divide by 2. So it's simple like that. Okay, let's just see. I'm just going to show you 1 or 2. Then the rest, I'm just going to write the answers. This is what I'm trying to say. Let me just show you the part of the calculator. All right, let's do this. Just want you to see the calculator here. All right, this is it. So on your, we're just going to put a fraction. You add the lower and the upper, okay? The smaller to the last, okay? That is the lower class, upper class. So you're going to add these to the boundaries. Lower boundary to the upper boundary. So that's 2,500, 4,500. So you're going to have 2,500 plus 4,500. Like this, you divide by 2. That's the center, the midpoint, okay? So it's going to be 3,500. So this midpoint here is going to be 3,500. The same thing, the lower class, you add it to the upper class, you divide by, this is what you're going to do, all right? So let's put this on top here. This is going to be 4,500. So let's just write 4,500 to 6,500. This is 6,500. You obtain 5,500, all right? So this is going to be 5,500. So that's how you're going to calculate your midpoints. You add the lower to the upper class, you divide by 2. So this was going to give you 7,500 if you calculate properly. This one to 10,500, you're going to obtain 9,500. The same from this up to 12,500, you're going to get 11,500. You do the same thing. On the last part, you are going to obtain 18,500. That is how you calculated the midpoints. Then after calculating your midpoints, you're going to need the frequency times the midpoint. So this is what we have, frequency times midpoint. What is happening here? You're multiplying the product of these two, frequency and midpoint. This is the frequency and F times X. We have got the frequency here and the midpoint. You multiply these two. You need the product of these two, all right? So let us just see on our calculator. That's you and your calculator, guys. It's you and your calculator, just like this. 103 times 3,500 times 3,500, like this. This is going to give us 360,500. So this is 360,500. You do the same thing, the product of this and this, that is frequency times midpoint. You're just multiplying. So that's 19. We're going to multiply 19 times 5,500, 5,500, like this. So this will give us 104,500. So this is 104,500, and so on and so on. So this is what you're going to do throughout. You're just multiplying frequency to the midpoint. 70 times 7,500, which is going to give us 525,000. That's 1,000, just like that. Okay. All right. Then we multiply this 77 times 9,500. This is going to give us 731,500. All right. We've multiplied these two. Okay. You do the same thing. You multiply these two. 85 times 11,500. This is going to give us 977,500. All right. So these are big values. Anyways, you multiply the last 99 times 13,500. This was going to give us 1,336,500. Okay, so that's it. So as we can see on the formula, there is a need for us to find the total, the sum. This is the summation is for the sum of the frequency and the midpoint. We need the total. And also the sum of the frequency, which is the total of the frequency. So where we need the totals is on this part. Frequency times midpoints, we are going to need the total. So here, we're going to need the total and also the total on the frequency. So here, we're going to need a total. And also, we're going to need a total on the frequency times midpoint. These are the two that we just need their totals. Here, there's no need for us to have any total on this part, right? So here, we're going to find the total. That is the sum of the summation. So we add our frequencies together. So if we add these numbers, we're going to obtain 453. And if we add everything here on your calculator, take your calculator, punch in the values, everything, that will be 4,035,500, like this. Okay. So we have the total of the frequency and midpoint, and also the total of the frequency. And this is what we needed on our formula to calculate the mean. The sum of, so let me just write the formula again. Remember we said the mean is equal to the sum of the frequency times the class midpoints over the sum of the frequency. So the sum of the frequency times the class midpoints, the midpoints and the frequency, their sum, this one, frequency times midpoint, we got a total of 4,035,500. So it's gonna be 4,035,500 like this over the total frequency, the summation means total. We got the total here of the frequency. Remember, this was our frequency F. So the total we got 4,500. 453. So we are going to divide by 453. All right, so that is going to give us the mean of the given information. And you can round off to 2 decimal places. All right, so let's just do this on the calculator. I want you to see also the part of rounding off, of which I talked about this, just for the sake of revision for others, so that they can also understand. All right, so this is it, guys. We divide these two, we are going to get 80 and so on. So to 2 decimal places, you can do that on your calculator. Remember, I said you press shift, then set up, shift, set up on this mode, press set up. So to round off to 2 decimal places, press 6, which is the fix. So you fix your calculator to 2 decimal places. Your answer is going to be 2. So it's fixed, then you press 2, right? Shift, set up, you go to the fix, which is 6, then to 2 decimal places, you press 2. So your answer is 2 decimal places, which is 809, 8,908 so this will be 8,908, 39. All right, so that was a 39 in that case. All right, so this is the mean, the average mass, the average. Mean means we are talking about the average, the estimated mean. So that is how we calculate our average. And this is the average mass that we are talking about, the estimated mean mass. So this is in kilograms. All right. So that's it. That is how we answer. That is how you calculate the mean from the grouped data. Grouped data, you use this formula But for ungrouped data, you just use the number of sum of terms over number of terms. But there you have to calculate the midpoints, multiply to the frequencies, add them together. That's the total, the sum, okay? Then the last question here is just a basic question, a normal understanding of the question. They are saying, which of the measures of central tendence, the modal class or the estimated mean, will be most appropriate to describe the data set? Explain your answer. In terms of describing the data set, comparing the modal class and the estimated mean is the most appropriate. It is the best measure of what? Measure of central tendence, all right? So there it is the estimated mean. Why is that so? Why are we saying it is the estimated mean? Because the estimated mean is more at the center of the data, of the information. It's found at the center. It's more at the central part, all right? This is because it is more at the center. It is more at the center, okay, of the given data, of the data, more at the center of the data set. Okay, so that's it. Whereas the modal class is far away, left to the extreme left-hand side, okay? Whereas the modal class, because we are comparing with the modal class, whereas the modal class is found at the extreme right, at the extreme left-hand, sorry, at the extreme left-hand side of the data set. All right, so that is how we're gonna have this in terms of our explanation. We saw that the mode was just the mean is something that is okay. I want you to see where is that value? Where is that? I think yeah. Look at this value here. The mean that we have is 8,908, which is something reasonable. The mean that we are talking about. All right. Whereas compared, like where we have the mean and where we have the modal class we had it at between 2,500 4,500 at the beginning of the class. That's where we have at the far left. So it cannot be best to describe. So the best to describe is the estimated mean. So this is the reason that you're gonna have just 1 mark for that that you're gonna have. So let us just try to revise as much questions as we can in preparation of our examinations. It's very, very best that we do revise as much as we can.